Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Kali. How are you?
Yeah, fine, sir. What about you, sir?
I'm good too. Thank you. So, can you tell us
Yeah,
something about yourself?
yeah, sure, sir. Actually, sir, I'm Kaliraj. So I'm currently living in Chennai. So I have done my UG graduate, uh, which specialized in BSc Electronics. So I
Mhm.
have overall 6 years of work experience in software testing. So my last company is Tata Consultancy Services. So I have been worked as a software test analyst. So I have familiar with the banking domain application and the performance testing, which includes the functional, non-functional testing,
Mhm.
um, like and all the manual test techniques, like UA testing and UAT testing as well.
Okay. So, when you say testing,
Um,
you have been
have
performing
knowledge
automation
experience.
as well? Yeah, yeah. Please go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir. Actually, I will be performed the automation as a 6 month experience.
Mhm. Okay.
Then I have a good knowledge and experience in tools in Jira and JMeter, and Confluence, Bugzilla, and
Mhm.
MDC emulator for mobile testing. Then load run. Then engineer, I'm responsible to writing the test cases as per the user acceptance criteria and sprint stories and analyzing the business scenarios and understanding the functional and non-functional requirements. Then I actively involved in the collaborating with the manager to review the all test cases which we have written. Um, then I and part of to help to create the test plan report with my manager and analyzing and gathering the information from the stakeholder customer as per their requirement or specification and communicate the issue and the defect to the higher environment team. Then I actively performing the different types of agile ceremonies like the sprint planning, retrospective meeting, then sprint demo and daily status call, which including the defect triage meeting. Then I have done all the test techniques like the regression testing, sanity testing, smoke testing, and integration testing, system testing, ad hoc testing, UAT testing as well. That's it.
Mhm. Okay. So, you are
Yeah.
telling about that you have got an experience in JMeter and
Yeah.
performance
Yes,
testing
sir.
tools like load runner. So,
Mhm.
can you tell me which are the assertions you have used in JMeter?
Mm, so assassin, so so you can ask any different way for the assassin. Actually, so we have used for this JMeter to analyze and perform the application. Um, so measure the reliability and stability of the applications letters.
Right. So, which are the assertions you will use? Any assertions that you have used?
So assassin means the parameter, right? Sir?
No, no. Assertions means the checkpoints. How do you validate whether that API request has got the proper, response or not? Or let's say, one type of assertion is bean shell assertion.
Mm,
Have you used bean shell assertion in JMeter?
um, no, sir, I will use. Can you help me with this question, sir?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. See, there are different assertions that you can use in JMeter, right? One is the bean shell assertion that we were just discussing. Then there is a response assertion. In the response assertion, you can validate whether the response you are getting is correct or not. Duration assertion is there,
Yeah.
in which you can validate the duration of getting the response is proper or not, within the time limit or not. Size assertion is there.
Okay.
Compare assertion is there. You can compare the two values. Then XPath assertions are there. Then
Yeah.
yeah, then XML schema assertions are there. Then there are assertions related to BSF, right? So these are different kind of assertions that you will get in JMeter. which generally we will be using as a
Okay, sir.
part of validating.
Yeah, sir. Got it. It's
Right?
noted down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, which are the important components of JMeter?
Mm, yeah, which are the component? It means the test plan
Mm-hmm.
and thread score group and assertion. So we can use that in under the thread group HTTP request. Um, then we can create the result of the report like view tree table and aggressive report. Um, then graphs report. So we have used this kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So generally you will have test plan, you will have thread group, then you will have controllers. So all of these things
Yes.
are the major components of JMeter.
Okay.
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 Now, yeah, can you tell me what is the role of listeners in JMeter?
Listeners, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, listeners,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can take your time to
it's
think.
not come. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking types of listeners, right, sir?
Yeah, so will you can name few of the listeners also which you have used,
Yeah.
and what is the role of listeners in JMeter? What is the significance of having listener in JMeter?
Yeah. So listener is it is used for showing the result of the application.
Hmm.
Which we have used the this listener to show the expected result and performance of the result in the application. So we have using the different types of result um, that like that already said like that view listener tree like that graphs method like and also.
Okay, see, whenever you get this question in an interview, how you can answer this is the primary role of listener in the JMeter is to save the outcome of the test, right? So what is the outcome of the
Okay.
test? You can get the listeners and they can give you the results in the graphical analysis. You can get those things in the graphical format, or you can get those things in the tabular format also, right? So whichever
Okay.
those are useful to you, right? Then few of the commonly used listeners you can tell those are aggregate graph, view results tree,
Yeah.
aggregate report, right? So these are the common listeners that you will have in the JMeter.
Okay.
Okay.
So fine.
Hmm. What do you know about preprocessors in JMeter?
Mm, preprocessor.
Hmm. So we have preprocessor as well as post-processor in JMeter. So what do you mean by preprocessor in JMeter?
Yeah, preprocessor, nothing but it is as soon as we launch the JMeter, so we need to create the test plan
Hmm.
as per the application requirements. Then, um, then we need to use the different types of method like at HTTP request, um, like under.
Yeah, so that is
Actually,
a
I am not.
different thing. Like the
Yeah.
URL you are telling, right? Whether you will go for HTTP or HTTPS, that is altogether a different thing, right? But
Yes.
yeah, so I'll tell you what are preprocessors. See, before the sample requests are accomplished, before the sample requests are processed, the preprocessors are executed. So basically,
Okay.
preprocessors are nothing but these the test plan elements, but they help to ensure reliability for your test plan elements, right? So you can
Okay.
name few of the preprocessors such as regular expression, regex is there, bean shell is there, rewriting modifier is there,
Okay.
link paper for HTML. So these are the preprocessors in JMeter,
Okay.
right? Is it possible to run JMeter in GUI?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Sure.
So
We can.
how will you run the JMeter in GUI form?
Mm, Actually, I'm nothing much involved in the geometry, sir. Actually, I
Okay,
have used the few cases only in the geometry,
okay, okay,
as
fine.
per the requirement. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, now let's say you are working on Selenium automation, right? Now there is a
Yeah.
web page. There are few elements which execute fine a few times, but they fail a few times, right? So let's say out
Okay.
of 10, 5 times that element might get failed while running your Selenium automation script, but 5 times it runs perfectly fine. So what can be the reason behind this?
Mm, Actually, due to some the code overwritten or code traffic, so that it will happen. So application will something behave different. Um, so that we will get this kind of issues, I believe.
Mhm. Okay, so let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. In a web page,
Okay.
when you are trying to run the Selenium automation, there are a few elements which execute fine a few times, but they fail. So there is a reliability issue. So what can be the reason behind it? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, now which are the different exceptions that you have faced while doing automation?
Mm, so actually, I have only the involving to create the Maven project in automation and
Mhm.
writing the test cases for the login page. That's things we are doing in my organization.
Okay, so you mean that you are updating or you are adding new test scripts in your automation framework? The framework is
Yeah,
already
correct.
ready, right? So which is the
Yes, sir.
framework? Yeah.
So we are using the JavaScript framework for the Selenium application.
Okay. Now, even if you add the test, you will be executing those test scripts. You will be running those test scripts in Selenium, right?
Yeah,
Hmm. So
yes, sir.
which are the exceptions you are facing? For example, you might have experienced an exception such as no such element or timeout exception.
Mm,
Hmm. Then element
so I
not
have no
selectable
idea.
exception. Okay, okay, fine. So in an interview, you might get this question, right?
Okay, sir. Fine.
Hmm. Okay, what is the difference between array and array list?
Array and array list. Okay.
Hmm.
Mm, mm, no, sir, I don't know what is that answer
Mhm.
for this.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let's say if you are assigned some particular user story to test. Okay, this is manual
Okay.
testing with respect to manual testing. Okay, then how much time do you need to test that particular user story? How will you come up with your test estimation? Which are the different factors that you will take into the consideration while estimating a user story?
Yes, sure, sir. Actually, it is the based on the requirement. If if they are allocated in the one particular login page, or so we need to analyze the login page first. Then we need to create the test cases in Jira. Um, so based on the requirement, we will provide the estimation time to the higher environment teams.
Requirements. Okay, so that is one of the
Yeah.
factor. Then which are the other factors that you will take into consideration while estimating a user story?
Um, So we need to analyze the what are all the field, what are all the parameter we need to cover to write the test cases. So then we will consider this as how many times to take to write it, so that we will provide the time.
Hmm. See, whenever you get this question, you can answer that it also depends on the complexity of the requirement. Also,
Okay.
what is the story points of that user story? If the story points are less, so that's a low complexity user story. If the story points are medium, so you can say something
Okay.
in between the low and high, then it's a medium user story with limited complexity. If it's a high story point, so the complexity might be more, the effort required to test that story might be more, hence it would take some more time for you, right? So you can tell
Yes,
1 or 2 days for simple story, maybe 3 to 5 days for a medium user story, then it might take 2 weeks for for a user story with more story point, with more complexity, right? Now, coming to the second aspect, see, whenever you get some user story, then in that, are
yes,
you
sir.
supposed to do only functional testing, or are you supposed to do non-functional testing as well? So, and then if you have to test on some particular virtual machine or some particular cloud machine, are you having that environment ready with you or not? So these are the various things that you have to take into the consideration before starting the testing, right? So while doing estimation, such pointers will help you to come up with the
Okay.
correct estimation.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. What is the difference between REST and SOAP?
Rest and show.
Hmm.
Mm,
Have you worked on REST or have you worked on SOAP? Do you know about APIs?
no, sir, I didn't use that rest and show.
Mm-hmm.
So API
Okay.
testing, so I have involved for the few
Mm-hmm.
cases only
Okay, so you are
using
doing
the
API
Postman.
testing as well?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Uh-huh. So which tool you are using for doing API testing?
So we are using the Postman tools.
Postman tool.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So can you tell me how can you test a particular API using Postman tool? Let's say there is an API that has been given to you uh, for login, right? Or
Okay.
payment, whichever functionality. Then how will you test that API using Postman?
Yes, sir. So we have using the three type parameters. So we have used it using like the get, post, and path.
Mm.
So based on the requirement, so we have used this. Mostly we have using the get parameter. So we have input the login page URL in the Postman tool and the send the response to the server. So we will able to get the response from the server into the Postman tool. So we can see the body of the application and the header and the performance of the application status and the time and the so we will get the code, Java coding into the body under the body in Postman tool. So we can run the and execute those test cases. Sorry, that script. So we will get the performance in the
Performance.
application.
Okay, so performance is one of the aspect, but how will you validate that, for example, this API was supposed to give 200 as a status,
Yeah.
but it is giving you now 400? Then how will you validate that thing?
Mm, so in this time, so we have the specific option on is
Mm-hmm.
called like the code 200.
Mm-hmm.
So we have using that score option to be run the validate the that URL.
Right. So which is the option? So in an interview, you can tell that there are Postman assertions which will help you
Yes,
to validate the response of an API. Simple,
yes.
right? So that's how you can tell. Okay, now what is a workspace in Postman?
Mm, workspace. I don't know this exact answer.
Hmm. Workspace is actually, whenever you launch the Postman, you will get workspace. You will click on the plus symbol to open a new tab, and you will enter the API endpoint where it says, enter request URL. Then you will select the method, get, post, etc. What you are mentioning. Click on the send. So this
Yeah.
all things are happening in workspace only. That is your workspace in Postman, right?
Okay.
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, which are the different assertions in Postman?
Mm, so, session. Hey, can you help me just
Yeah, sure. See,
assassin?
yeah, there are various assertions, those are available in Postman, right? So one is the assertion for
Okay.
object verification. You can assert
Okay.
whether the object is so it is used to compare the properties of the object, right? Then there are other assertions like status code, then time taken by the response, then type of the response format, header of response, text of
Okay.
response. So these are the various assertions that you can use,
Okay.
right? Text of response, it will help you to the response text contains the expected text or not. The header of
Okay.
response, it will pass if the response has a header content encoding, right? Then the type of response format, so you can assert what type of response format you are getting. You are getting in JSON or you are getting in some other format, right? Then time taken, so how much
Yeah.
response time is being taken, so that is response assertion. Then status code assertion, so as we were discussing, no, that the
Yeah.
assertion for the status code, it is 401 or it is 200, right? So those
Yes.
kind of assertions you can validate using Postman. Okay, how do you keep yourself upgraded? Let's say if any new tool or technology has come up in the market, how do you keep yourself upgraded?
Mm. So can you please tell me the another one?
Yeah, you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay,
I'm getting the call.
okay,
That's it.
okay. So how do you keep yourself upgraded? Let's say if any new tool or technology has come up in the market, how will you ensure
Okay.
that you have got the knowledge of that particular tool or technology?
Mm. Sorry, sir. It's not coming to mind.
Okay, so whenever you get this question, you can tell about the latest tools or technology that you have gone through. Maybe any new tools like Test Case Studio, Test Case Hub is there,
Okay.
right? So these are the new tools that are available for testers. What is Selectors Hub?
Selectors.
Yeah, what is Selectors Hub?
Selectors have, I didn't use this. It's like
Mhm.
not discussed.
So for creating test automation scripts, how do you locate the locators like XPath or CSS?
So, expert, so we have used the web browser application, right? So we can find the elements in web browser. Then we need to create the test plan in the Selenium with the different, everything is a different folder um, within the JavaScript.
See, Selectors Hub is actually a free XPath and CSS selectors generation you can do using Selectors Hub. right? So it is officially featured by the Chrome store, and it is innovated by one of our, the expert, that is Sanjay Kumar,
Yeah.
right? So you can add Selectors Hub XPath plugin to your browser. You can install that particular in the plugin in the Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Opera, Brave, Chromium, Tor. All these browsers are being selected. Sorry,
Okay.
supported, right? You can also get XPath with respect to siblings, parents, child nodes, ancestors, descendants, right? And it will give you the proper error message also if any XPath or anything is missing, or if you have written invalid syntax also, right? So it's a free of
Okay.
cost, yeah, plugin which can help you to find the locators.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Kali, I am done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah,
Nothing from
okay.
me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.